The massive station floated in the darkness of space like a jewel. Primaxis Station was home to the Galactic Council, where 53 different alien species made decisions that affected billions of lives across the galaxy. Today they gathered to discuss Earth and its people. Captain Minho stood in the center of the Great Hall. The room was enormous, with seats rising in circles around him. Strange creatures filled those seats. Some looked like giant insects with glittering eyes. Others were made of crystal that caught the light and split it into rainbows. There were beings of pure energy, floating blobs of liquid, and things that hurt to look at directly. Minho wore his best uniform. The dark blue fabric was crisp and clean, with Earth's flag on his shoulder. He felt small in this place. His ship, the Soul's Pride, was waiting outside. It was Earth's finest vessel, but he knew the aliens saw it as primitive junk. "Humans seek membership in our council," said Chancellor Thrix. The insect-like creature's voice buzzed through the translation device in Minho's ear. "We have reviewed your species. You are barely suitable for consideration." Minho kept his face calm. He had expected this. Earth had only achieved faster-than-light travel 3 years ago. Every other species in the Council had been traveling the stars for thousands of years. To them, humans were children playing with toys they didn't understand. Ambassador Kyung sat in the visitors section. He was an older man with gray hair and sharp eyes. He had spent months preparing for this meeting. Next to him sat Dr. Hana, a young scientist who specialized in alien biology. She looked nervous, clutching her data pad tightly. "We present our findings," announced a tall, thin alien made of blue crystal. This was Ambassador Quarzon of the Lumina species. "The humans come from a planet designated as Earth. Our analysis team visited this world. What we found was disturbing." Hana stood up when called. Her hands shook slightly as she activated the holographic display. Images of Earth appeared, floating in the air for all to see. Beautiful blue oceans, green continents, white clouds swirling in patterns. "Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world," Hana said. Her voice was quiet but steady. "The gravity is 1.4 times galactic standard. Most council species would be crushed by the weight of their own bodies on the surface." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some of the aliens shifted uncomfortably in their seats. "The atmosphere contains oxygen at dangerous levels," Hana continued. "This element is highly corrosive and toxic to 47 council species. The atmospheric pressure alone would kill 12 species instantly." She changed the image. Now it showed a thunderstorm, lightning splitting the sky, then a volcano erupting, then massive waves crashing against rocks, then a tornado tearing across flat land. "The planet experiences violent and unpredictable weather," Hana explained. "Hurricanes with winds exceeding 300 kilometers per hour. Earthquakes that can destroy entire cities. Tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, temperature variations from -40 to +50 degrees Celsius." More images appeared. A lion attacking prey, a venomous snake, a shark, a bear, tiny mosquitoes that carried deadly diseases, bacteria that could kill in days. "The planet harbors thousands of species capable of killing an unprotected human," Hana said. "Humans evolved alongside predators, parasites, and pathogens. Their immune systems are extraordinarily aggressive by galactic standards. They produce stomach acid strong enough to dissolve metal. They can survive injuries that would kill most species we know." She sat down. The chamber was silent for a moment. Chancellor Thrix clicked his mandibles together. "This confirms our assessment. Humans are a primitive species from a hostile environment. They have developed crude survival mechanisms, but they lack the sophistication for council membership. We have no psionic abilities," added another counselor, a floating blob of purple gel. "No telepathy. No telekinesis. Their minds are closed boxes, unable to join the greater consciousness." "Their technology is laughable," said a third voice. "Chemical rockets, fusion reactors. They still use physical interfaces for their computers. They haven't even discovered graviton manipulation." Ambassador Kyung stood slowly. Minho could see the tension in the old diplomat's shoulders, but his voice was calm and respectful. "We acknowledge our limitations," Kyung said. "We are young. We are learning. But we are also determined. We ask only for the chance to prove ourselves worthy." Thrix made a sound that the translator interpreted as laughter. "Prove yourselves? Very well. We grant you protectorate status. You may remain in your home system. In perhaps 1,000 years we will reconsider." "That is unacceptable," Kyung said firmly. "We request the right to participate in galactic activities." To trade, to learn, to contribute. The council members buzzed and hummed and made various noises of discussion. Finally, Quarzon spoke again. There is the matter of the trade expedition, the crystal being said. Various species are exploring frontier regions for resources. Perhaps the humans would like to participate. Thrix buzzed with amusement. An excellent idea. We can assign them a sector. Let's see. The Outer Veil. Section Gamma 7. That region was surveyed 600 years ago. Everything valuable was removed long ago. The humans can search there if they wish. Minho saw the trap immediately. They were being sent on a fool's errand, searching empty space for nothing. It was meant to keep Earth busy and out of the way. But Kyung simply nodded. We accept, the ambassador said. We thank the council for this opportunity. Later, back on the Soul's Pride, Minho met with his senior crew. Ji-hoon, the chief mining engineer, was a young man with clever hands and a quick mind. Sumin, the geological surveyor, was older and more experienced. She had worked on asteroid mining operations throughout Earth's solar system. They're mocking us, Ji-hoon said angrily, sending us to picked-over territory. Let them mock, Sumin replied. She was studying the navigation charts of the Outer Veil. These surveys are 6 centuries old. Technology improves. Maybe we'll see something they missed. Or maybe we'll find nothing and look like fools, Ji-hoon muttered. Minho looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there was the Outer Veil. Somewhere was Earth's future. We're going anyway, he said quietly. We'll show them what humans can do when everyone counts us out. That's when we're most dangerous. The ship turned away from Primax's station. Its engines, crude and chemical and inefficient by galactic standards, pushed it toward the unknown. Behind them, the council had already forgotten about the humans. They would remember soon enough. 3 months of searching had found nothing. The Soul's Pride drifted through the Outer Veil, scanning one dead rock after another. The crew was getting restless. They all knew the council had sent them here as a joke. Sumin sat at her station, running the same scans she had run 1,000 times before. Her eyes hurt from staring at screens. The geological data scrolled past in endless columns of numbers. Rock composition, mineral content, energy readings, all of it worthless. Nothing again, said Ji-hoon. He floated into the scanning room in 0 gravity. The ship saved energy by keeping gravity turned off in most sections. We're wasting our time out here. Maybe, Sumin said. She didn't look up from her screen. Or maybe we're just looking in the wrong way. What do you mean? Sumin pulled up the council's old survey data. These scans are 600 years old. They use different technology, different methods. What if there's something here that their equipment couldn't detect? Ji-hoon pulled himself closer to look at her screen. Like what? I don't know yet, but I'm going to recalibrate our scanners. Look for energy signatures instead of just mineral compositions. It took her 2 days to reprogram the equipment. Captain Minho authorized the change, though he looked doubtful. On the 3rd day, Sumin ran her new scan across a barren moon designated OV-447. The results made her sit up straight in her chair. Captain, she said into her communicator. Her voice was shaking. You need to see this. Minho arrived within minutes. He looked at the screen at the strange readings that pulsed in bright red across the display. What am I looking at? He asked. Energy, Sumin said. Massive amounts of energy. It's coming from inside the moon. It doesn't match anything in the galactic database. Could it be a power source? Something artificial? I don't think so. The readings are too random. Too natural. It's geological, but unlike any geology I've ever seen. Minho made his decision quickly. Prepare a landing team. We're going down there. The shuttle descended through the thin atmosphere. 0447 was an ugly place, gray and lifeless. Craters covered the surface. Nothing grew here. Nothing lived here. The team wore full environmental suits as they stepped onto the rocky ground. Sumin led them to the source of the readings. It was a cliff face where ancient impacts had split the moon's crust open, and there, exposed in the rock, was something that glowed with a faint blue light. Is that what I think it is? Asked Tae-yang. He was the ship's chief engineer, a tall man with careful movements and a methodical mind. A mineral deposit, Sumin confirmed. She approached carefully, holding her scanning device in front of her. But not like any mineral we know. Look at these readings. It's producing energy, 0-point energy, pulling it straight from quantum fluctuations. She reached out to touch the rock. The moment her gloved hand made contact, alarms shrieked in her helmet. "Radiation!" Taiyang shouted. "Get back!" Suman jumped away from the cliff face. Her suit's sensors were going crazy. The mineral was radioactive. Heavily radioactive. The kind of radiation that could kill a person in minutes. "Everyone back to the shuttle," Minho ordered. "Now!" They retreated quickly. Once inside the shuttle with its shielding, they checked themselves for exposure. Suman had received a small dose, but nothing dangerous. Her suit had protected her. "That stuff is deadly," Ji-hoon said. "We can't mine it. We can't even get close to it." But Suman was thinking. She pulled up data on Earth's environment. The radiation levels humanity lived with every day. The cosmic rays that bombarded Earth because its magnetic field was weaker than most habitable planets. The UV radiation from the sun. The radon gas in basements. The background radiation from nuclear testing decades ago. "We can handle it," she said slowly. "Humans, I mean. This radiation is strong, yes, but we evolved in a radioactive environment. Our DNA repair mechanisms are incredibly robust. With proper shielding suits, we could work around this mineral." "Are you sure?" Minho asked. "Check the alien biology data. Most council species come from quiet worlds. Stable stars, strong magnetic fields, thick atmospheres. They never had to adapt to radiation like we did. To them, this would be instant death. To us, it's just another workplace hazard." Taeyang was already running calculations. She's right. With our standard mining suits upgraded with extra lead shielding, we could work this deposit safely. Not forever, but in shifts. Rotate the workers, limit exposure time. Minho looked at the glowing mineral through the shuttle window. "What do we call this stuff?" "The crew's already got a name for it," Ji-hoon said with a grim smile. "They're calling it Deathstone." Over the next week, they conducted more surveys. The deposit was massive. It extended deep into the moon's crust, perhaps thousands of tons of material. Taeyang analyzed small samples using remote drones. His findings were incredible. "This mineral is a natural zero-point energy generator," he explained to the senior staff. 1 kilogram could power a city for a year. Maybe longer. It's the most efficient energy source I've ever seen. The council must have missed it because their scanners couldn't detect it, or because they never got close enough to scan properly. "Too dangerous for them. How much is it worth?" asked Minho. Taeyang laughed. It wasn't a happy sound. "Worth? Captain, this changes everything. There's enough Deathstone in this one moon to power the entire galaxy. And from Suman's extended surveys, this moon isn't unique. There are similar readings on 14 other bodies in this sector. The implications hit them all at once. Earth wasn't searching through garbage. They had found the greatest resource discovery in centuries, and only humans could safely extract it. "We have to report this to the council," Minho said. "It's the law." "They'll take it from us," Ji-hoon protested. "They'll claim jurisdiction and push us out." "Maybe not," said Suman. She was reading through council legal documents on her datapad. There's something called the Frontier Rights Provision. It's old, barely used, but it says that a species that discovers a unique resource they can exploit gets first rights to it, especially if other species can't access it safely. Minho nodded slowly. "We file our report, but we also file mining claims under this provision. We document everything, prove that humans can work this material and others can't, make our case ironclad." "And if the council still tries to take it?" Taeyang asked. Minho looked at each of them. "Then we fight. Not with weapons, with law, with words, with stubbornness. That's what humans do best, isn't it? We don't give up." The message was sent that night. It traveled through the quantum communication network, reaching Primax's station in seconds. The report was complete and detailed. Discovery of unknown energy-producing mineral. Extreme radiation levels. Request for mining rights under Frontier Rights Provision. On Earth, Ambassador Kyung received a copy of the report. He read it 3 times, then called an emergency meeting of Earth's government. They had one chance to do this right. On Primax's station, Chancellor Thrix received the report, the insect being read it with growing disbelief. The humans had found something? In the worthless outer veil? Impossible, but the data didn't lie. The energy readings were real. The mineral was real. And if the humans could truly exploit it, then everything had changed. For the first time since humanity had appeared before the council, Thrix felt something like concern. These primitive Deathworlders might be more capable than anyone had thought. The galaxy was about to pay attention to Earth. The Galactic Council chamber erupted in chaos. Alien voices buzzed, chirped, hummed, and roared in dozens of languages. The translation devices struggled to keep up with everyone talking at once. Chancellor Thrix slammed his foreleg against the podium. The sound echoed through the chamber. Slowly, the noise died down. "This is unacceptable," Thrix declared. "The humans have discovered a resource of immense value. By all rights, this belongs to the Council. The Outer Veil falls under Galactic Commons. We must claim immediate jurisdiction." Ambassador Kyung stood in the center of the chamber. He looked small and old compared to the towering aliens around him, but his voice was strong. "The Outer Veil was assigned to humanity for exploration," he said calmly. "We were granted that territory. We discovered the Death Stone through our own efforts. Under the Frontier Rights provision, we claim first exploitation rights." A Lumina counselor rose. "The Frontier Rights provision hasn't been invoked in 4,000 years. It's outdated, irrelevant, but it's still law," Kyung replied, "unless the Council votes to change it." "Has there been such a vote?" Silence answered him. Yunha, Earth's trade negotiator, stepped forward. She was young for a diplomat, barely 30, but she had a sharp mind. "We have also prepared medical evidence. The Death Stone emits radiation that is lethal to 90% of Council species. Prolonged exposure causes cellular breakdown in 47 races. Only humans and perhaps 2 other extremely rare species can safely work near it." She activated a holographic display. Medical data appeared, showing the effects of Deathstone radiation on different species. The images were horrifying. Velrath tissue dissolving, Lumina crystal structures shattering. Even brief exposure caused irreversible damage. "You see," Yuna continued, "this isn't just a legal matter. It's a practical one. You need us. Only we can extract this mineral safely." Thrix's mandibles clicked angrily. "Then we propose a partnership. The Council provides equipment and support. Humans do the extraction. We split the profits fairly." "Define fairly," Yuna said. "The Council receives 97%. Humanity receives 3% for labor." The offer was so insulting that several of the neutral councilors shifted uncomfortably. Kyung didn't even blink. 60% to Earth, he countered. 40% to the Council. "We take all the risk. We provide all the labor. We deserve the majority share." "Absurd," Thrix roared. "You forget your place, human. You are a Class 3 species. You have no power here. We have the power to say no," Kyung replied quietly. "Without us, you get nothing. The Death Stone stays in the ground, worthless. With us, everyone benefits, but we will not be exploited." The negotiations continued for days. Earth refused to back down. The Council was furious but trapped. They needed the Death Stone. The energy crisis had been building for decades. Systems were running on diminished power. This mineral could solve everything. Then the situation escalated. 3 Velrath military vessels appeared at OV-447. They were warships, sleek and powerful, armed with plasma cannons and graviton missiles. Captain Minho received their transmission. "By order of the Galactic Council, you are to cease all operations immediately," the Velrath commander said. "Evacuate the moon. This site is now under Council control." Minho sat in his command chair. His crew watched him, waiting. They were miners and scientists, not soldiers. The Soul's Pride had no weapons. They couldn't fight 3 warships. But Minho thought about Earth, about his family back home, about the children who would grow up in poverty if this opportunity was stolen, about how every species in the galaxy thought humans were weak. "No," he said simply. The Velrath commander seemed surprised. "You refuse? You have no choice. Leave now or we will remove you by force." "Try it," Minho said. He cut the transmission. His security chief, Hansu, looked at him with wide eyes. "Captain, what are we doing?" "We're not backing down," Minho said. "Get everyone into radiation suits. Move all our Deathstone samples to the surface. I want that mineral everywhere. Scatter it around our base. Create a perimeter." Hansu understood immediately. A grim smile crossed his face. "They can't get close to it." "Exactly." The crew worked through the night. They brought up tons of raw Deathstone from the mining operation. Using mining charges, Jihun created dispersal devices. If triggered, they would spread radioactive dust across a wide area. The moon would become a death trap for any non-human species. The Velrath commander demanded entry to the base. Minho showed him the radiation readings. The area around the human settlement was now flooded with enough radiation to kill a Velrath in minutes. You're insane, the commander said. You'll kill yourselves. We have protection, Minho replied. Our suits, our biology, we can survive this. Can you? The standoff lasted 3 days. The Velrath ships orbited the moon. The humans stayed in their base, surrounded by deadly radiation that didn't bother them nearly as much as it should have. They rotated shifts. They monitored their exposure. They were careful but not afraid. On the 3rd day, something unexpected happened. The Velrath detected another ship approaching. It was from the Lumina. Then another appeared. Then 3 more from different species. Word had spread across the galaxy about what was happening. Some aliens thought the humans were brave. Others thought they were crazy. But everyone was watching. The Velrath commander finally retreated. He couldn't attack without looking like a bully. He couldn't land without dying. He had no choice but to withdraw and report failure. When the warships left, Ji-hoon let out a long breath. We did it. We actually did it. We stood our ground, Suman said. She was exhausted from 3 days in a radiation suit, but she was smiling. They expected us to fold. They don't understand humans. News of the standoff reached every corner of the galaxy. A Class 3 species had repelled a Class 5 military power without firing a shot. They had simply used their environment, something only they could tolerate. On Primax's station, the council met again. The atmosphere was different now. Fear had replaced mockery. They weaponized radiation, one counselor said. They turned their own biology into a defensive advantage. They didn't back down even when facing certain death, said another. What kind of species does that? Ambassador Quarzon of the Lumina spoke carefully. Perhaps we have underestimated them. Not their technology. Their will, their determination. These are traits that cannot be measured in class rankings. Thrix was silent. His military faction had been humiliated. The humans had made him look weak. But more than that, they had proven something important. They were not primitives to be pushed around. They were survivors from a death world, and they knew how to fight using everything they had. Back on Earth, Director Minji of Planetary Defense watched the news reports. She was already planning. If the Council tried force again, Earth would be ready. More ships were being built. More weapons designed. Humanity had been peaceful, but they had never been helpless. The galaxy was learning a hard lesson. You could have better technology. You could have ancient knowledge. You could have powerful armies. But if your opponent refused to quit, if they were willing to endure anything, if they came from a world that tried to kill them every single day of their existence, then all your advantages meant nothing. Humans were death worlders, and they were just starting to show the galaxy what that really meant. The Council called an emergency session. This time they wanted answers. Real answers about what humanity was capable of. They invited Dr. Nari, a human biologist, to present a complete analysis of human capabilities. Nari stood before the assembled council. She was nervous but prepared. She had spent weeks gathering data, preparing presentations, consulting with experts from every field. Today, she would show the galaxy the truth about humanity. Thank you for this opportunity, she began. Her voice was amplified through the chamber. I understand the Council has questions about human biology and psychology. I'm here to answer them honestly. Chancellor Thrix leaned forward. Tell us about human endurance. Our soldiers report that your people can continue fighting long after they should have collapsed. Nari nodded. She activated the holographic display. An image of a human appeared with various systems highlighted. Humans are persistence hunters, she explained. On Earth, we evolved to chase prey over long distances. We can't run as fast as many predators, but we can keep going, and going, and going. We can track an animal for days without stopping. She showed footage of human athletes, marathon runners, ultra-distance competitors, people who ran hundreds of kilometers without rest. The average human can march for 10 to 12 hours with minimal rest. Soldiers have documented cases of fighting for 72 hours straight. Yes, they suffer. Yes, they're exhausted, but they don't stop. We have a saying on Earth, pain is temporary, quitting is forever. A Velrath counselor spoke up. That's impossible. Our warriors need rest after 4 hours of combat. How can you continue? Adrenaline, Nari said. When humans face danger, our bodies flood with chemicals. Adrenaline, cortisol. They increase our strength, speed our reactions, suppress pain. We can perform incredible feats under stress. Mothers have lifted vehicles off trapped children. Soldiers have carried wounded comrades for kilometers despite their own injuries. She showed medical scans. Our pain tolerance is also unusual. We can function with broken bones. We can keep fighting through wounds that would incapacitate most species, not because we don't feel pain, but because we can push through it when necessary. The chamber was silent. Aliens shifted in their seats, uncomfortable with these revelations. Let me show you something else, Nari continued. She displayed footage from Earth's history. Soldiers in trenches, explorers crossing frozen wastelands, sailors lost at sea surviving for weeks, people climbing impossible mountains, scientists working in deadly conditions. Humans don't give up, she said simply. It's hardwired into us. When things get difficult, when any reasonable species would retreat, we dig in deeper. We have a psychological trait called stubbornness. It's not always logical. Sometimes it's actively harmful, but it means we will endure conditions that break other species. She paused, looking around the chamber. I know this sounds like boasting. It's not. It's a survival mechanism from our death world. We had to be this way to survive. But it has consequences. What consequences? Asked a floating energy being. We don't know when to quit, Nari said softly. If you make enemies of humanity, we will fight you for generations. We hold grudges. We remember insults. We plan revenge over decades. We have fought wars that lasted 100 years over principles. We've waged conflicts across continents because someone killed someone we cared about. She brought up another display. This one showed social structures. Humans also pack bonds, she explained. We form intense emotional connections, not just with other humans, with anything. We adopt alien species into our families. We bond with animals, with plants, with machines. We name our ships and treat them like living things. We will die for our pack members, not because it's logical, but because we love them. Counselor Do-hyun, a human xenosociologist, stepped forward to join Nari. He was an older man with kind eyes and a serious expression. I've been studying galactic psychology, Do-hyun said. Most council species make decisions based on logic. Risk versus reward, cost versus benefit. This is sensible. This is rational. Humans are not always rational. He showed examples from Earth's history. Soldiers jumping on grenades to save their friends. Parents running into burning buildings for their children. People giving up their own lives for strangers. We have a concept called spite, Do-hyun continued. It means we will hurt ourselves if it means defeating an enemy. We will burn our own cities rather than surrender them. We will sacrifice everything to win. This isn't strategy. It's emotion. It's pride. It's stubbornness. He looked directly at Chancellor Thrix. You tried to take the Death Stone by force. Captain Minho would have detonated the entire deposit rather than give it up. He would have killed his crew, destroyed the mineral, accomplished nothing. Just to deny you victory. That's human spite. The implications settled over the chamber like a heavy blanket. These weren't just tough primitives. These were beings whose psychology was fundamentally different from galactic norms. Ambassador Quarzon spoke, her crystal body pulsing with light. I must ask the question we're all thinking. What happens if we make enemies of humanity? Do-hyun and Nari exchanged glances. Nari spoke first. Honestly, you don't want to find out. Not because we're powerful. We're not. Our technology is primitive. Our fleet is small. We have no psionic abilities. But we will never stop. We will fight you with everything we have. And when that's gone, we'll fight with rocks and sticks. And when those are gone, we'll fight with our bare hands. We also learned, Do-hyun added, humans are extremely adaptable. We steal technology. We copy techniques. We improve on everything we see. Give us 100 years and we'll match your technology. Give us 200 and we'll surpass it. Because we never stop trying. We never accept that something is impossible. Nari brought up one final image. It was Earth hanging in space. Beautiful and blue and green. This is what made us, she said. A planet that tried to kill us constantly. Predators, diseases, weather, earthquakes, volcanoes, floods, droughts. Everything wanted us dead. But we survived. We thrived. We conquered our world not with strength but with stubbornness. With adaptability. With the absolute refusal to die. She looked around the chamber. You asked us to prove ourselves. We have. We found the Death Stone. We defended it. We showed you what humans can do. But understand this, we're not trying to threaten anyone. We're not warlike by nature. We just want to survive, to prosper, to be treated with respect. And if that respect is denied? Quarzon asked softly. Nari met her crystalline gaze. Then you'll learn why death worlds produce the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Not because we want to be dangerous, because we have no choice. The session ended in silence. Counselors left the chamber, troubled and thoughtful. Back on Earth, Director Minji watched the broadcast. She smiled grimly. Her people had delivered the message perfectly. Meanwhile, in the outer veil, human mining operations expanded. More ships arrived from Earth. More colonies were established on worlds the Council considered uninhabitable. Each one was a statement. Humans could go where others couldn't. Captain Minho stood on the surface of OV-447 watching the miners work. They moved efficiently in their radiation suits, extracting Deathstone ton by ton. Above, the Soul's Pride orbited protectively. Around the system, new human vessels patrolled. Do you think they'll try again? Suman asked. She stood beside him, datapad in hand. Maybe, Minho said. But now they know what they're facing. Not primitive weaklings, not easy targets, Deathworlders who don't quit. In the cold darkness of space, the galaxy was learning to see humanity differently. The question now was whether that new understanding would lead to partnership or conflict. Either way, humans would endure. That's what they did best. The Council split into 3 groups. Everyone knew it was coming. The unity that had held for thousands of years was cracking under the pressure of the human question. Chancellor Thrix led the militarist faction. They believed humanity must be controlled before they became too powerful. Corzin and the moderates wanted partnership and negotiation. A third group, smaller and more fearful, wanted to quarantine humanity in their sector and hope they never looked outward. The militarists moved first. Admiral Yuna of the Earth Defense Fleet received the warning 3 hours before the Armada arrived. Intelligence assets throughout the galaxy had been watching Council movements. When 40 Velrath warships left their home system heading toward Sol, the message was clear. She had 12 ships. That was Earth's entire deep space fleet. They were the best humanity could build, but they were old by galactic standards. Chemical fusion hybrid drives, plasma shielding that was half as effective as Velrath shields, missile systems that were accurate but slow. Thoughts? Yuna asked her command staff. They sat around the strategy table in her flagship, the Inchin's Hammer. We can't win, said Commander Hyun bluntly. He was her tactical officer, a man who believed in honest assessments. They outgun us 4-1. Their ships are faster, better protected, more advanced. If this becomes a straight fight, we lose. Then we don't make it a straight fight, Yuna said. The Velrath Armada entered the Sol system 2 days later. They came in formation, confident and strong. Their commander opened communications immediately. Earth Defense Fleet, this is Commander Velkoth of the Council Enforcement Armada. By order of the Galactic Council, Earth is hereby designated a protectorate. You will stand down your forces and submit to Council authority. Failure to comply will result in the use of force. You have 1 hour to respond. Yuna looked at the tactical display. 40 ships against 12. The odds were hopeless. She thought about her children back on Earth, her husband, her parents. Everyone she loved was on that beautiful blue planet behind her. She opened the comm channel. Commander Velkoth, this is Admiral Yuna of the Earth Defense Fleet. I have considered your ultimatum. My response is this, come and take it. She cut the transmission. Velkoth stared at his screen in disbelief. They refuse? These primitives actually refuse? His tactical officer clicked his mandibles nervously. Admiral, what are your orders? Forward formation. We'll disable their ships and board them. Show these humans what happens when you defy the Council. The Armada advanced. Yuna watched them come. Her ships were positioned in a defensive sphere around Earth. They looked small and pathetic compared to the Velrath warships. All ships, she said calmly into the fleet channel. Remember your training. Remember what we are. And remember that everyone we love is behind us. No retreat. No surrender. Make them pay for every meter. The battle began. Velrath plasma cannons fired first, brilliant beams of superheated matter crossing the darkness. Earth ships scattered, their inferior engines struggling to evade. The destroyer Sol's Light took a direct hit. Its shield collapsed. Hull plates melted. But Sol's Light didn't retreat. Its captain, Jisoo, aimed his ship directly at the nearest Velrath cruiser. His engines were damaged. His weapons were half destroyed. So he did the only thing that made sense to a human. He rammed. The impact was catastrophic. Both ships exploded in a ball of nuclear fire. The Velrath formation wavered, shocked. No one sacrificed their ships like that. No one threw away lives and resources in mutual destruction. But humans did. The frigate Busan's Wrath had its engines shot out. It couldn't maneuver. Couldn't escape. Its captain, Soman, ordered all non-essential crew to the escape pods. Then she and her skeleton crew turned every power system to the reactor. When a Velrath destroyer came close to finish them off, she detonated the core. 2 ships gone, 2 enemy ships destroyed. The trade looked bad on paper, but the psychological impact was devastating. The Velrath had been fighting in space for 10,000 years. They understood war. Attack the enemy. Disable their ships. Accept surrender. Minimize losses. War was an extension of politics, a tool to achieve objectives. Humans didn't fight like that. They fought like cornered animals. Every damaged Earth ship became a weapon. Crews who should have surrendered instead threw themselves at enemy vessels. When conventional weapons failed, they used their ships as missiles. The battle raged for 6 hours. The Velrath had superior technology. They scored hit after hit, but every time they destroyed an Earth ship, that ship took 1 or 2 Velrath vessels with it. Captain Jisu's final transmission became legendary. His destroyer, Incheon's Fury, was crippled and burning. His crew was dead or dying. He had 1 working engine and no weapons. A Velrath battlecruiser moved in for the kill. Jisoo aimed his ship at the enemy flagship. The Velrath commander tried to veer away, but Jisoo followed. His ship was slower, but he was committed. He spoke into the communication channel one last time. "For humanity," he said quietly. "Always." The explosion destroyed the flagship and 3 escort cruisers. Commander Velkoth died instantly. His second-in-command took over, but the confidence was gone. The remaining Velrath ships regrouped. They counted their losses. 22 ships destroyed or too damaged to continue, against an inferior enemy. The cost was unthinkable. Earth had lost 9 ships. The 3 survivors were barely functional. But they still held position between the Velrath and Earth, ready to sacrifice themselves if necessary. The new Velrath commander made the only logical decision. She ordered a retreat. The human ships didn't pursue. They couldn't, they were too damaged. But they had won. Not through superior skill or technology. Through sheer unwillingness to lose. Admiral Yuna sat in her damaged flagship. The bridge was dark, running on emergency power. Half her crew was dead. Her ship would never fly again. But Earth was safe. "Get me a channel to the planet," she said quietly. When the connection opened, she delivered her report to the president. "We held them. The Velrath have withdrawn. Earth is secure." The news spread across the planet in seconds. Humanity had faced the Council's military might and survived. The cost had been terrible. 9 ships, thousands of dead. But they had proven something important. The galaxy watched. News channels on 100 worlds replayed the battle footage. Analysts tried to explain what they had seen. Inferior force defeating a superior one through tactics? No, through desperation? Partially. Through something the galaxy didn't quite understand? Yes, humans fought differently. They didn't calculate odds and retreat when outmatched. They fought until they won or until they were destroyed. There was no middle ground. On Primax's station, the Council met in emergency session. Thrix's militarist faction had been broken. Their armada had limped home with more casualties than they'd suffered in 3 centuries. "They're insane," one counselor declared. "They sacrificed 9 ships to destroy 22 of ours. That's not victory, that's suicide." "But they did destroy 22 of our ships," Corzin said quietly, "and they protected their world. From their perspective, they won. Can we defeat them?" Another counselor asked. Military analysts presented their findings. Yes, the Council could defeat humanity, with enough ships, enough firepower, enough time. But the cost would be enormous. Every human ship would take multiple Council vessels with it. Every human colony would have to be taken by force. Every step would be paid for in blood, and for what? To punish them for being strong? To take resources they had rightfully discovered? To prove the Council's dominance? The vote on military action failed. The moderates had won. Not because they loved humanity, but because the alternative was too expensive. Back on Earth, Director Minji ordered the construction of 30 new warships. The defense budget tripled overnight. Humanity had won this battle, but they knew more would come. They had to be ready. In the Outer Veil, mining operations continued. Captain Minho heard about the battle and felt pride mixed with sorrow. So many dead, so many heroes. But Earth endured. On 100 worlds across the galaxy, beings of every species asked the same question. What had they gotten themselves into? These humans were supposed to be primitives, easy to manage, simple to control. Instead, they had revealed themselves as something far more dangerous. Not because they wanted war, but because they absolutely refused to lose. They came from a death world, and they had brought that death world mentality with them to the stars. The galaxy would never underestimate humans again. The question now was whether there could be peace between Deathworlders and the civilized species who had never known such desperate survival. The answer would determine the future of them all.